everyone, it's Heather, and in today's video I'm going to be reading more of your real ghost stories. So the purpose of this series is that viewers send in their encounters with the other side, encounters that they can't fully explain, memories that are so real to them that they know something's going on here. However, I'm not in any way trying to force anyone to have the same beliefs as me. I think that everything should be approached with logic, and we should really try to come up with, well, what else could this have been? But then there are those few cases where you're like, yeah, something's really going on here. That's my take on it. I'm also a skeptic, but I'm someone that knows that we have had these experiences in our life that we just can't explain away, and something is going on here. So I wanted to give a space where people could freely share their stories. They can be anonymous if they wish, so they have a place to get it out there. So I'm really excited by the amount of ghost stories you guys sent me. So let's jump into these. So this first real ghost story comes from Rachel. And Rachel says, "Hi Heather, my name is Rachel and I'm a fan of your videos. I recently watched the video where people sent you their real ghost stories and thought maybe you would like to hear mine. Oh yes, please. I am originally from the Connecticut shoreline and now live in New Orleans. When I was in my early years of high school, I would come home, and as the first thing I did was when I came home was to use the bathroom. I would be all by myself because my younger sister would get picked up by a babysitter or a grandma, and my mom would be at the casino where she worked. Our house at the time had been a modified shop for horse supplies like saddles and bridges and things, and had a U-shaped driveway which had two sides, one on either of the house, and we had a huge set of 9 windows on each side. One day I came home and was going about my regular routine and was in the bathroom. Out of nowhere, clear as day, I heard my mother's car door slam shut, with her screaming and swearing at my younger sister. She then finished it off with, "Rachel, get out here." So I thought that I'd better do what she said to avoid getting in trouble. I walked out calling to her, but no cars were in the driveway, and I searched the entire house, but nobody was there. She called a few hours later, and I asked if she had come home early at some point, and of course she said no. We never got an explanation. Hope you enjoyed that story. Oh my gosh, I have heard of like so many stories like that where people will like hear a family member in their house, but the family member wasn't home and they have no idea what that could have been. That's a really common one I hear. And the only thing I could think is that your mom has a twin and she has a daughter named Rachel and she lived in your neighborhood, because that is really crazy. Like I said, that's something that I have heard before, and that's a very fascinating phenomenon. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Rachel. All right, so this next one comes from Trista. There are 3 stories, and it looks like there's a lot to them. So get cozy, get some popcorn, and let's jump into this. I was raised by a single mother, loving grandparents, but was an only child. My mother, who worked a full-time factory job, loved to go out on the weekends with friends and coworkers. So this one weekend in particular, Mom set it up that I would be having a sleepover at her friend's house with her daughter and a friend. I was a few years younger than her daughter, but we were all still in elementary school. I grew up out in the middle of nowhere, so our parents were comfortable leaving us alone at 9 or 10 years old. We had the normal rules: no leaving the house, don't answer the door, etc. Although if someone came knocking in the middle of the night where I lived, you'd probably be met at the door with a shotgun. Mom's friend lived in a trailer around 100 yards from their grandparents' house down a mile-long lane surrounded by woods. Literal meaning of middle of nowhere. So all through the night, the older girls were telling spooky stories and watching horror movies, telling me scary things, basically scaring the crap out of me and then sent me to bed. Basically the typical slumber party. So I'm in the room by myself on the bottom bunk. What happens next, I will never forget. It is so clear in my memory all these years later. After being a little freaked out, I had finally fallen asleep. So asleep, I didn't even hear or feel the other 2 girls climb up and get into bed. I'm awoken by this urgent pleas for me to wake up and go turn the light on. Trista, please, go turn on the light. Please, Trista, turn it on. I said, no, you guys are just trying to scare me. No, please, turn it on. I mean, this went on back and forth quite a while. Eventually, I was so sick of hearing it, I said, fine. Got out of the bed, walked over to the light switch. Now, the way the room was set up, I had to walk across the room in the dark to the light switch, which was in between the doorway on my left and the closet on my right. So I'm standing in between and was looking towards the ground as I walked, get to the dresser and start reaching towards the light switch. As I'm doing this, my eyes start rising towards the switch. That's when I see it. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. In the closet, there is something, a person, ghost, spirit. It's white, opaque, long hair, looking down as if it's praying, no features. I couldn't see from the waist down. Now I'm in full motion to turn the light on as I'm seeing this. So I do. It snapped its head up and looked back at me, or looked through me, but I could feel the hate. Then it disappeared out the bedroom door like a white flash. I run back to the bunk bed and the other girls had jumped down to the bottom. We all huddled together because we all saw it. Then the pounding started from outside, directly behind us on the wall, pounding so loud it made the wall shake. We ran out of the bedroom into the hallway. The pounding followed us. Picture frames started flying off the walls and shattering on the carpet. The lights were going off and on, TV off, everything just started going crazy. Then it stopped. Girl. Wow. Wow. As fast as it started, it stopped. We call our parents, they don't believe us, but thought someone was messing with us, so came home immediately. They found us all still huddled together in the middle of the hallway. I never went back to the house again. I refused. It actually made my mom and her friends not be friends anymore. Oh my God. Well, you had quite the experience. That would be very traumatic for anyone to live through. Like, that would be so traumatic. Wow. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so story 2. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time at the farm. We were always having sleepovers on the trampoline. I would wake up early and go ride the horses. So this one night, myself and 2 friends were on the trampoline, sleeping under the stars, and we hear something. Sounds like a whooshing noise, and other than that sound, everything was eerily quiet. Not like normal. No normal night noises. Then we see it, a disc-shaped object over the cornfield to our left. You had a crazy ghost experience. Now you had aliens. Girl, I'm jealous. I literally blinked and it had moved to the old barn where the heifers were kept. One of the people on the trampoline was so scared he ran inside. My friend and I were so scared we couldn't move. All these cows started mooing and it sounded like they were being chased around. It was so strange. Next day, boom, dead cow, healthy cow, dead cow for no reason. That was the last time we slept on the trampoline at the farm. Honestly, aliens terrify me. Like, I love the whole concept. I'm really fascinated by wanting to know if there's life on other planets. But I feel like aliens are like the biggest thing we have to fear. Seriously, because if they come here, you really think they're gonna be nice? I don't think so. Okay, so story 3. This also involves sleeping outside on the trampoline, but at our house. It was the middle of the night, 2 or 3 a.m. The trampoline gets jerked and wakes us up. We all jump up like, what the fuck just moved us? And there's this big, dark, man-like creature staring at us from the edge, hands still on the railing. We start screaming and it runs. My mom and stepdad hear the commotion and turn on the floodlight. Rush out as we were all running towards the house to ask us what's wrong. We were all talking at the same time trying to tell them, so my stepdad grabs a shotgun and flashlight and walks to the perimeter of our property. I walked with him trying to explain what we saw. We get to this big tree in the back of the yard and hear rustling. Look up the tree and there's something huge in the tree. Dark, but you can still see there's definitely something up there. He was so confused, he told me not to talk about it and to anyone and say we saw a bear. I think it was Bigfoot still to this day. Oh my God. It most likely was a bear, but girl, you got it all covered. You have ghosts, like crazy ghosts. You have aliens that are messing with your cows, and now you have Bigfoot. Like, you have officially done it. you need to be a paranormal investigator because this stuff seems to like you. And I'm not saying that to scare you, like that is crazy. Thank you so much for sharing your awesome stories with us, Trista. So this next one comes from Kay on Instagram. Hello, Heather. I have a ghost story for you that I would like to share because it's kind of crazy, so let's start. Since I was little, I can see entities' auras, and I was fascinated by the paranormal because my mom was into it too. But some crazy stuff happens and still happens, like this one time. I was sitting at my desk next to the kitchen and I felt someone tap on my shoulder, and I saw someone walking by, so I thought it was my sister, but no one was there. And later that day, I was just going to shower, and the shower head just fell off from the shower. When I walked towards the shower, I thought it was super weird and I got scared. Later that night, I was sitting in my room with the door open, and suddenly the sensor that sensed the person got on and the light turned on. So you have like a motion sensor light. And I said, "Mom?" And no one was upstairs except for me. This one time scared me a lot. I got scared a lot of things, and even weirder things started happening, like seeing people in my huge mirror and having crazy dreams. Much love. So, okay, your name is Sophie. I'm sorry about that. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's most people's experiences with spirits. They're relatively harmless, and all they're really going to do is tug on your sleeve or maybe whisper in your ear, things like that. So they do set off things like motion sensors and things like that. So really nothing to fear. I feel like whenever I was younger, I was terrified of stuff like this until I started really like immersing myself in it and trying to figure out what exactly was going on. And now when something happens, it's kind of rewarding because then I'm like, okay, let's find the source of this. What is this? What is happening here? Let's investigate. So yeah, that's a common one though, like feeling like there's somebody next to you and assuming it's a family member, but nobody's there. That's one that I hear quite a lot. So you're definitely not alone in that, Sophie. And thank you so much for sharing your real ghost story with us. So this next real ghost story comes from Alex. So this story takes place in a mental asylum that was known for abusing and many other things to patients. The location was closed in 1994. I think I know which one this is. Many of the buildings remained vacant for many years. That's when the urban explorers and paranormal investigators like myself went in. During my times, I've encountered many things that would scare the average person. I remember the first time I went, I was with a friend. We went in. This place has a 3-story building. We got to the main floor and we came across a Ouija board. I turned to him and said, "I'm not messing with that, man." He was walking around with an EMF meter and it wasn't lighting up at all, so we went to turn around and saw a dark, about 6'5" to 6'8" tall male figure. He started darting from one side of the building to the other. My friend turned around and we heard a blood-curdling scream. This place has a lot of trash on the ground, so we would have known if someone else was there. Yeah, because you would hear the shuffling of the trash. We both turned to each other and said, "Let's leave." Yeah, I think at that point, I mean, I don't know what I would do. I don't know, because it's like something exciting's happening. I have to capture this. I have to start filming. Like, I gotta figure out what's going on. But the other half of me is like, if I heard a scream in an abandoned building, I would probably leave because I would think somebody's being murdered. And I would just call the cops. You know, like, that would be me. But, so you said you've gone back many times after that and you've experienced what sounded like a metal chain clanking in the basement. There's nothing in the basement that would make that sound. I've searched high and low. I will send a video of me catching it. You have to listen very closely. And there is video clips on here. I've also been attacked in the building. I felt like I was being choked. So I actually was choked by a spirit once, and I'll describe to you guys after his experience what that actually felt like. I decided to go home and woke up the next morning with a bruise on my neck that looked like a hickey. I've heard a voice of a child about 5 or 6 saying, "Help me." That was at 3 a.m. No child that young would be out at that time. I've also had a door slam behind me while I was on Facebook Live. I'll send a video of that. In the video you'll hear voices, but that's from others who were there. I was completely alone on the floor where it happened. So now I'm looking at the photo of where the bruise was on his neck, and I think I can kind of see where he was talking about there. Oh yeah, I do see it actually. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, you know, it's hard to say. There's so many things that can leave marks on us while we're out exploring, from our bags, camera strap, things like that. You know, I've been hurt multiple times, but if you feel that, like, you seem like a very logical person who really investigates, and if you feel that, you know, you've ruled it all out and it's in the area where you felt that pressure, then yeah, I'll agree with you there. So my experience happened in a haunted prison at 3:30 in the morning, and it wasn't just me it happened to some other girl there. You know, everything was fun and games all night until 3:30 rolled around, and then everything changed. So we got to this one block of the prison, and I was sitting on the floor, and all of a sudden I just felt something go like this. Oh, I don't like that feeling, but like gently, like hands wrapping around my neck, and like you can feel the pressure on your windpipe where like it's kind of hard to breathe. And that happened to me for quite a few seconds, and I told everybody, like, I can't fucking breathe, like something is pressing on me. Well, obviously I could breathe, right? But I'm saying, like, I could feel like something going around like this. And then they had devices there that I was very skeptical of, like these phone apps where like a spirit can send a word through and stuff like that. But I've come to realize that spirits will use whatever they have to their disposal to get our attention and to communicate with us. So what happened with me was that I believe, I don't know if it was me or the other girl, but it popped up and said hang. And I don't know if I had get out or if she had hang. Which get out is such like a generic thing, like of course, you know, but then I just remember like the pressure like going off of me, and then a few seconds later, the girl next to me, or like a couple people down, she had it worse. And that's whenever I think the device said hang or something like that. And so I was like, we gotta get you out of here. Like, I was excited that I got choked, but I wasn't going to allow someone else that I was with to get hurt or anything like that. So we all got out of there. Plus it was about the end of the investigation anyway. But yeah, that's one I'll never forget. And like, when you feel that, it's different than just like an asthma attack or something. Like, you actually feel like something kind of gently going around. Like, they're not going to be able to like really get you. Like, spirits can't really do that. But something definitely like wrapped their hands around my throat, which was intense. But that was a very intense location, so I'm not surprised that a male spirit there tried to attack me. And you better believe I was cussing him out as I walked out that door, and I was like, don't you ever fucking try that on me again. I was just checking out Alex's videos of the location, and honestly, that place looks awesome. I would love to go there. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for sharing your story. I was just going back through, you know, the shadow figures is a real common one that I hear. I've seen one shadow person and I will never forget it my entire life. Like, when you see something like that, you know, it's like, you know what you're looking at. Because I've only ever seen one like once, really. And it's an intense thing you just never forget. Alright, so we have time for one more story. So I'm actually going to be sharing one from Makona here. I hope I said your name right. Miss Maine, I'm so sorry. I've never like had a chance to actually like hear your name in person yet. Anyway, so 4 years ago I was at my great aunt's funeral, and I was with my Aunt Raven and my mom. When they were talking, I was standing next to them. I was looking in front of me, and by a staircase there was a tall man standing there. He had brown slick back hair and a long nose. He looked like he was in his early 30s. He was in a suit and tie. He gave me the warmest, kindest smile, and I smiled back. Aww. I asked my mom if she knew who he was, and she said that she didn't see anyone there. I looked back and he was gone. Before we left the funeral, my mom and I were standing by another room where another funeral was going on. There was a poster board of pictures of the person who had died, and I decided to go and look at it. When I got close, there was a picture of a man, the same man who smiled at me. It was a very old picture from the 1950s or 40s. I started shaking and crying, and I looked at my mom and said, "That's the man I saw." I will never forget that. I always wonder why he showed himself to me. That experience stays with me. Oh my God. Oh my God, you are so sweet. Like, I met you and you have the kindest energy, so I'm really not surprised. Oh my goodness. And I guess that touches me so much because the last funeral I went to was my uncle's, and there were so many people there that showed up to see this guy. And I wondered, like, does he know we're here? Is there like some way out there that he knows? Like, he knows we're all here with him. And so hearing your story is really nice because it shows that, like, maybe sometimes they do linger around and, you know, they're saying goodbye too, just like we're saying goodbye to them, you know? And oh my God, like, that is such a sweet story. That is, oh my God. Well, I don't even know how to explain this one other than, you know, maybe you're sensitive and you can see spirits and, you know, they wanted to reach out to you, or like I said, he was just kind of lingering around, and you just happen to notice because you're sensitive. Like I said, I don't even know where I'm trying to get with this. Like, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that very sweet story with me. So thank you all so much again for sharing your true ghost stories with me. If you would like to submit a story, feel free to DM me on my Instagram page. I feel like that's probably the best way. I'm still trying to sort these out so I can keep them all organized. I feel like I may have missed someone's story here, so I need to go back through, and if I missed you, I'll try to get to you on the next video. But I hope you guys are enjoying the series, and I hope that it makes you feel better to be able to anonymously kind of share your stories. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Goodbye for now.